All right, everybody, good evening and welcome to Fox News Now. Pilar Arias here with you. They just placed the presidential seal there on the podium in Hershey, Pennsylvania. Not quite sure if we're going to have anybody come out and speak ahead of the president, but I am going to be showing you his last rally in Florida while we wait for this one to get underway live right here on Fox News Now. Currently 1,182 of you watching. Please like, share, subscribe. Let your friends, your family, your coworkers, your neighbors, everybody you know about us right here. The more, the merrier.
Big place. Thank you very much, and thank you to Vice President Mike Pence. He's doing a fantastic job. And thank you to the great state of Florida. Thank you. Thank you. So less than 1 year from now, I will join voters across the Sunshine State, my home, as we head to the polls, and together we will win back the House, we will hold the Senate, and we will keep that beautiful, beautiful White House. We will keep it. We will keep it. You know, we just set another stock rocket. You saw that, right? The stock market just hit another all-time in history high, meaning 401ks and jobs. Everybody's getting rich. And I'm working my ass off, that I can tell you. Before you leave the arena, make sure that you register to vote. We can't take any chances. We're doing great in Florida. As you know, you have a great governor. We're very happy with Ron. He's doing a fantastic job. But make sure you register to vote. As we gather together for Thanksgiving, you know, some people want to change the name Thanksgiving. They don't want to use the term Thanksgiving. And that was true also with Christmas, but now everybody's using Christmas again. Remember I said that? But now we're going to have to do a little work on Thanksgiving. People have different ideas why it shouldn't be called Thanksgiving, but everybody in this room I know loves the name Thanksgiving, and we're not changing it. But Americans have so much to be thankful for. The economy is booming, wages are rising, crime is falling, poverty is plummeting, confidence is soaring, and America is stronger than ever before. It's true. We've created 6.7 million new jobs, including 600,000 jobs right here in the great state of Florida. We're protecting American workers, taking care of our amazing veterans. By the way, you know the veterans, for years and years and years, I was like you, I was a civilian. I loved my life. My life was so much simpler. It was so nice and soft and easy. You build a building and you have fun. But I'd always see, you turn on the news, you read in the paper about our veterans being mistreated. They were doing such a poor job. You don't hear that anymore, do you? You don't hear it anymore. Our veterans, for the first time, are taken care of to a level that has never happened in our country before. And maybe most importantly right now, with the world the way it is, we are rebuilding the awesome power of the United States military. $2.5 trillion, and everything is made right here in the USA. That's good. We make the greatest equipment in the world. And a few weeks ago, U.S. Special Forces brought the world's #1 terrorist to justice. The bloodthirsty savage known as al-Baghdadi is dead, finally. And just this week, I stuck up for 3 great warriors against the deep state. And you know what I'm talking about. I had so many people say, "Sir, I don't think you should do that." People have to be able to fight. These are great warriors. They can't think, "Gee whiz, if I make a mistake, do I go for do that?" I mean, you know what they were doing? They wanted to put him in jail for 25 years. One young man was in jail for 7 years. He had 16 more years to go. And I want to tell you, when you look at what they did to that man, you would have been very proud at what we ended up doing. He came out, he hugged his parents. It was a beautiful thing. It was a beautiful thing. We gave him a pardon because we're going to take care of our warriors. And I will always stick up for our great fighters. People can sit there in air-conditioned offices and complain, but you know what? Doesn't matter to me whatsoever. They're out in that field, and they're doing a job for us like nobody else anywhere in the world can do. And the fact is, America is winning again, and America is respected again. But while we're creating jobs and killing terrorists and taking care of our border, it's really setting records now. You see what's going on. And the wall is happening. It's getting built rapidly, and that's a real wall. The radical left Democrats are trying to rip our nation apart. First, it was the Russia hoax, total hoax. It was a failed overthrow attempt and the biggest fraud in the history of our country. And then you look, the Mueller deal, you remember that mess? They had nothing. 2 years, they spent $45 million. And the real cost is many times that number. And now the same maniacs are pushing the deranged impeachment. Think of this, impeachment. Impeachment. A witch hunt, the same as before. And they're pushing that impeachment witch hunt, and a lot of bad things are happening to them. Because you see what's happening in the polls? Everybody said, that's really bullshit. everybody. Now, the fake news back there, they're going to say the president came. They will never talk about the crowd. You know, one of the Democrats yesterday had a rally. 2 people showed up. Two people. They give us no credit. If somebody has a rally like 1,000 people, they'll say, so-and-so had a rally. It was packed. They had 1,000 people. If we have a rally with 50,000 people, they don't talk about it. And I don't know much about this stadium, but I can tell you it's big, and you go outside, and there are a lot of people outside that can't get in. Right? But the lies of the Democrats are being exposed. Their schemes are unraveling. Their crimes, and that's what it is, crimes. Did you ever hear this guy, corrupt politician, Schiff? He made up my statement to the Ukrainian president. He made it up. These are crooked people. But their crimes are being revealed, and their sinister plans are failing at a level that nobody thought, even me, possible. The radical Democrats are trying to overturn the last election because they know that they cannot win the next election. It's very simple. Can't win. You know, when I started this, I said, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do that. It didn't mean anything. You know, it's just like another guy trying to get elected. You know, they're all trying so hard, but it's tough. It's not easy. It's not, you know, when a guy goes out and they want to get people, nobody shows. It's true. It's not easy. But when I started this, no, they haven't. That's normal. This is not normal. Do you think this is normal? Can I be honest? In front of those fakers back there, some of the most corrupt people in the world, I will tell you, in front of these guys, and they're fake, and they're corrupt, but I will tell you this, in front of the media, let me just say, this has never happened before. We go out, we never have an empty seat, and all I say is, let's go to Florida, just get me the biggest arena, it doesn't matter where. Let's go to Wisconsin, let's go to Michigan, let's go to Pennsylvania, North Carolina, South Carolina, let's go anywhere. Michigan. And all I say is, it doesn't matter, just get me the biggest arena. And we get these massive arenas like this one, and they're packed. And we put big screens outside so people can see, and it happens because there's something happening in our country like has never, ever been seen before. In the twisted worldview of the Washington very sick Democrats, it was totally fine when crooked Hillary Clinton ran her outrageous pay-for-play schemes out of the State Department. And then she deleted 33,000 emails after receiving a subpoena from Congress. That was standard play. But when I have A perfect phone call. I use that. It's a perfect call. There was a woman today being interviewed. They were talking to women who voted for Trump, and they were trying to find. No. No, they were trying to find. It's one of those crazy networks, you know, the ones I'm talking about. And they couldn't find the right, so they got these 10 women, and they were all for Trump. But they wanted to say, I voted for Trump, but I won't do it again. They said, so who's voting for Trump? 10 hands, blah, right? No, it's incredible what's happening. It's incredible. They actually said, and I shouldn't say this because they'll bring it up, but we have the greatest base in the history of politics. That's my opinion, okay? You're the smartest. They don't like to say that about. Hey, I went to great colleges. You went to great schools and colleges. You people are successful as hell. They like to try and demean always by saying, well, this and that. Let me tell you, we're winning. You're smarter. You're better looking. You're sharper. And they call themselves elite. But if they're elite, then we're the super elite. It's true. It's true. They talk about these people that are elite that, you know, that are running. I mean, have you been watching these debates? What's elite about that group? What's elite? There's nothing elite. But we're doing great. We're going to have a tremendous victory. But when I have a perfect call, think of it, 33, what they get away with. And don't forget, I came to Washington having been there for very, very few times in my life. So I say, look at this. And I'm riding down Pennsylvania Avenue, and I pass a hotel that I built, beautiful. And I said to the First Lady, who's doing a fantastic job, so I think I might have been in Washington 17 times in my life. And I'm riding down and I look at the First Lady and I say, Melania, do you believe it? I'm president. Look, I'm president. Can you believe it? And I never saw so many motorcycles, and I never saw so many police cars, and we're going so fast in the opposite direction. It's not supposed to go that way. And I'm saying, this is cool. We could get used to this. This is okay. But I was thinking to myself when I said that, I said, look, so I get elected, and I beat the Bush dynasty. Okay. I get elected, and I beat, and again, with no experience. I didn't have experience. I have tremendous world experience, but I didn't have political experience, right? So I get elected, and we beat the Clinton dynasty, right? And then we beat Barack Hussein Obama, and whatever the hell dynasty that is. So we have 24 years of people putting people in office. So we have tens of thousands of people. And some are very nice. But I get stuck with a lot of people that I don't want. Tens of thousands. And I'll tell you, we're getting it right. We have a great cabinet. We're doing things that no president has ever done before. And you've got to be very, very happy. You've got to be very, very happy. Because we have done more already, and hopefully we have, I'll say this to drive them crazy, hopefully we have at least another 5 years to go, at least. Because, you know, they think You know, he's not leaving, don't you? He's not leaving. Now, we have 5 years, and we're going to make it a great 5 years. But you know what? We have done much more than I promised. If you look at the tax cuts, if you look at the military, if you look at the VA, if you look at right to try, how good is that? Right to try. Things that for years and years and years they've been trying to get passed. But when I have a perfect phone call with all of the horrible things that they've done, with the president of Ukraine, they tried to claim that it's an impeachable offense. And one of the women said this morning, excuse me, I'm voting for Trump. I happened to read the transcript of his phone call, and he did absolutely nothing wrong, and I'm voting. Can you imagine? They take this perfect call, and they want to impeach your president. And you know what? Here's the good news. We have more support in the Republican Party. Kevin McCarthy, Meadows, I'm going to introduce a couple of them. Jim Jordan, great champion wrestler. You got a couple of them here. I'm going to save their names. Steve Scalise, who's been incredible. So many. Elise, how's Elise doing, right? New star. No, it's incredible. Devin Nunes, how good has he been? Huh? Devin. And so many more. I don't want to get into it, but I tell you what, a lot of stars are being made. And I was just told backstage our poll numbers are through the roof because people don't like watching a scam. They don't like watching it. They don't like watching it. They've got a sick puppy, Shifty Schiff. He's sick. And they don't like seeing what's happening. And a lot of Democrats are saying, one of them was today in Detroit, I believe, and she's like in a D, Democrat 30. That means, in other words, that's not one that we're going to work too hard to get, but you never know what happens, right? And she came out and said, essentially, hey, I'm not here to impeach the president. But what they're really saying is they don't like the position they're in, and they're going to like it less and less, and we're going to take it right up to November 3rd, 2020. We're going to take back the House. We're going to take it back. So the president of Ukraine declared that there was no pressure put on me. Now, he's the only one that matters. There was no pressure. He said it all different ways. There was no pressure. They don't even know what they're talking about. It's a scam. It's a hoax. The Ukrainian foreign minister stated, and I quote, Ambassador Sondland did not tell us and certainly did not tell me about a connection between the assistance and the investigations. Never told him. I have never had a direct link between investigations and security assistance. Okay, what that means, you know what it means? It means we did zero. We did nothing wrong. Nothing. We did nothing wrong. A great senator from Wisconsin, Ron Johnson, a supporter of us from day one, he's a great guy, of Ukraine, he said, who met privately with, and he met with President Zelensky, and he said at no time during that meeting was there any mention by the president, you know what I'm talking about, right? At no time was there any mention or anything that they were feeling any pressure in return for military aid. It's the craziest thing. They took this, look, here's what happened. They were devastated by what happened with this Mueller witch hunt deal. And then Mueller testified. How did he do what he testified? How did he do? Wasn't too good. But they were devastated. They say this is a disaster. Now they say, give us anything, we'll impeach him. Let him go to the refrigerator and pick an orange. We're going to, from Florida yet. Pick an orange from Florida. We're going to impeach him. We'll impeach him. But during the time period at issue, the U.S. government officials held many meetings with Ukraine. And never once, never did Ukraine or the officials say anything that was wrong. And then all of a sudden, I'm hearing about a phone call. And then, fortunately, they had transcribers. Hey, how about if I didn't, with these lowlifes that talk, how about if we didn't have it transcribed? So all I'm saying, I don't want to go on it too long, but all I'm saying is that it's a terrible hoax. Last week, Sondland testified that I told him, quote, "What do you want from Ukraine?" I said, "I want nothing." This is a quote. "I want no quid pro quo. I want nothing. Tell President Zelensky to do the right thing, to do what he ran on." That's what he said, okay? And everybody knows it. Everybody knows. A lot of people heard Shifty make up a story where he actually made up what I said. But these are the facts. The case closed, game over, turn off the television. As soon as he said that, it was like, turn off the television. So we're going to keep going. I've had Republicans come up to me, "Sir, can we keep this sucker going a little bit longer? We've never seen anything like it with the polls." I said, let's get it over with. But you know what? We're stuck with dealing with very, very sick and corrupt people. That's what it is. The failed Washington establishment is trying to stop me because I'm fighting for you and because we're winning. It's very simple. They're attacking me because I'm exposing a rigged system that enriched itself at your expense, and I'm restoring government of, by, and for the people. Ooh. And if you want to see what corruption looks like, then take a look no further than slow, Sleepy Joe. So, I don't know what's going on with Joe. When Sleepy Joe was in charge of Ukraine policy, his son, I call him, where is he? Where's Hunter? Where is he? What happened to Hunter? Where's Hunter? His son received millions and millions of dollars from a Ukrainian energy company without a great, you know the reputation of that company.
Now, maybe she's in need of a kiss. I said, hey.
Thank you.
Well, hello, Pennsylvania. It is great to be back in the Keystone State. We've had a great day on the bus traveling all across this state. But I'm here in Hershey tonight for one reason and one reason only. And that is that Pennsylvania and America need 4 more years of President Donald Trump in the White House. You know, I'm here because I stand with President Donald Trump. And when this president stands up for American jobs and American workers, I stand with President Donald Trump. When this president stands up for faith and freedom and a strong national defense, I stand with President Donald Trump. And like all of you, when this president stands up to the do-nothing Democrats, their endless investigations, and their partisan impeachment, we stand with President Donald Trump. You know, what began 4 years ago has grown into a movement. It's a movement of everyday Americans from every walk of life. Here in Pennsylvania, you believed we could be strong again. You believed we could be prosperous again. Pennsylvania said yes to President Donald Trump in 2016, and I know Pennsylvania is going to say yes to 4 more years of President Donald Trump in 2020. You know, I think there's only one way you can describe the last 3 years. It's been amazing. It's been 3 years of action, 3 years of results. It's been 3 years of promises made and promises kept, and we're just getting started, Pennsylvania. I mean, think about it. Think about it. This president promised to rebuild our military. President Donald Trump delivered. This president has already signed the largest investment in our national defense since the days of Ronald Reagan. We're finally giving our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guard the resources and support they need to accomplish their mission and defend this nation again. And with the defense bill announced just today, President Trump has secured even more money for our military, another pay raise for our troops, and history will record that President Donald Trump established the United States Space Force. You know, I believe that President Trump is the best friend the United States Armed Forces have ever had. I do. Under this commander-in-chief, we've made the strongest military in the history of the world stronger still. And with that renewed American strength, we've taken the fight to radical Islamic terrorists on our terms, on their soil. In the last year alone, American forces at the direction of this commander-in-chief captured the last inch of territory beneath the black flag of ISIS. And just about a month ago, as the world watched, U.S. Special Forces took out the leader of ISIS without one American casualty. Al-Baghdadi is gone, and Conan, the hero dog, is just fine. And this president also understood that national security begins with border security. And we've made historic investments to secure our borders. And as I stand before you today, apprehensions on our southern border are down by 70%, and we've already started to build that wall on the southern border of the United States. Oh, we're building it. We're building it. You know, and on a day when we lost a police officer in the line of duty in New Jersey, and a trooper was shot right here in Pennsylvania, I promise you, this president and this administration will always stand with the men and women who serve on the thin blue line of law enforcement. And to uphold the rule of law, this president has kept another promise by appointing principled conservatives to our federal courts at every level. President Trump has already appointed 170 men and women to our federal courts. And I can tell you firsthand, they are all judges who will uphold the God-given liberties enshrined in our Constitution and Bill of Rights, like the freedom of religion, the freedom of speech, and the Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms. And I couldn't be more proud to serve as vice president to a president who stands without apology for the sanctity of human life. President Donald Trump is the most pro-life president in American history. So it's about security. It's about liberty. It's about our values. And men and women of Pennsylvania, it's about jobs, jobs, jobs. From the first day of this administration, President Trump promised to revive the American economy. We cut taxes, we rolled back red tape, we unleashed American energy and fought for free and fair trade, and the American economy is booming. Since Election Day 2016, as of last week, businesses large and small have created 7 million jobs all across this country. Unemployment is at a 50-year low. The stock market is setting records, and there are more Americans working today than ever before in American history. And this president's also worked to open up markets around the world. We put China on notice that the era of economic surrender is over. And as you all maybe already heard today, 1 year ago, President Trump signed the largest trade deal in American history. And today, the Democrats in Congress finally agreed to pass the USMCA. It only took them a year. The USMCA is a win for American workers and American farmers. It's going to create hundreds of thousands of jobs all across this state and nation. And I got to tell you, okay, there's a lot of people out there taking credit for the USMCA. But I was there every step of the way. And make no mistake about it, President Donald Trump got it done. I mean, thanks to this president's leadership, support of all of you and our allies in the Congress, so many of which are here today, we've made America great again. Yeah. But to keep America great, we need you to decide right here and right now that Pennsylvania is going to vote for 4 more years of President Donald Trump in the White House. I mean, think about it. 4 more years means more jobs. 4 more years means more judges. 4 more years means more support for our troops. And it's going to take at least 4 more years to drain that swamp. You know, the choice in this election couldn't be clearer, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Today, we have a president who loves this country, who stands by our militaries, our workers, and our freedom. He never quits. He never backs down. He believes in you and fights for you every single day. But today's Democratic Party today's Democratic Party has been taken over by radical leftists who want higher taxes, open borders, late-term abortion, and socialist policies that would crush this economy. And today you saw the news. The do-nothing Democrats even announced articles of impeachment against our president. What a disgrace. You know, the truth is they're trying to impeach this president because they know they can't defeat this president. They can't run against our record. They can't run against his results. They're pushing this baseless and partisan impeachment because they know they can't stop you from giving President Donald Trump 4 more years in the White House. But despite 3 years of endless investigations and their so-called resistance, I can tell you firsthand, I've seen it every day. President Donald Trump has never stopped fighting for you, and now, Pennsylvania, it's our turn to fight for him. You with me? It's on. We need you to bring your enthusiasm, just like tonight. We need you to keep voicing your support. We need you to get registered to vote, Pennsylvania. We got a big election next year. Keep telling your neighbors and your friends that Pennsylvania and America need 4 more years of President Donald Trump, and we will get this done in November of 2020. I believe it. I believe it because I have faith. Faith in my friend, the President of the United States, whose boundless energy, drive, and vision have made America great again in 3 short years. We need to have faith in our fellow Americans who know we've turned this country around and know we can make America and Pennsylvania greater than ever before. And lastly, as we go into next year's election, let's have faith. Let's have faith that he who blessed this Commonwealth and this one nation under God will yet bless America beyond anything that we could ask or imagine if we will simply put our trust in him. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming out today. It's an honor to be with you all. I can tell you, President Donald Trump is the real deal. He's a man who says what he means and means what he says. And he gets up every day and fights to keep the promises that he made to the American people. And I know that with your continued support, with our strong allies elected and re-elected from your state house to the nation's capital, with President Donald Trump in the White House for 4 more years, and with God's help, we're going to keep on winning. We're going to keep on delivering a great future for all of the American people, and together with this man, we will keep America great. So now, it is my high honor and distinct privilege to introduce to you my friend and the 45th President of the United States, President Donald Trump.
And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Well, thank you to Vice President Pence. Thank you, Mike. And hello, Pennsylvania. Hello. It's great to be back in the state that gave us the Liberty Bell, Pennsylvania Steel, Hershey chocolate. I like Hershey chocolate. The Nittany Lions. You know, the Nittany Lions. They're doing pretty well, too. And the incredible American patriots, just like you. You are patriots. Thank you very much. Thank you. Under Republican leadership, America is stronger than ever before, and we are respected again. Last month, you saw it. We smashed expectations with another 266,000 jobs. And unemployment is now more than a 50-year low. We have never seen what's going on with different groups. Unemployment is at a position we've never had anything like this. You're so lucky I became your president, normally. I'm only kidding. I have to say I'm kidding, because the fake news back there will take that. They'll take that statement and they'll blow it up, and they'll say he said they were lucky to have him as president. What a horrible thing to say, because they're fake. Anyway, here in Pennsylvania, you had the single best year that you've ever had in the history of our country. Not bad. The Pennsylvania unemployment rate has reached an all-time record low. And I hate to tell you this, you know, when I was campaigning 3.5 years ago, I'd come here. You weren't doing so well, folks, right? You weren't doing so well. Wages were way down, unemployment was way up. It wasn't a pretty picture. Just a few months ago, I visited the new Shell petrochemical plant in Beaver County at $6 billion with a B, $6 billion. It is the largest investment in Pennsylvania history. We're ending decades of failed trade policies that devastated communities all across the state. For generations, American manufacturing was the bedrock of your economy, the bedrock. Remember last administration, you'd need a magic wand, it'll never come back. You'd need we found the magic wand, didn't we? Then came NAFTA, the NAFTA disaster, I call it, one of the worst trade deals in the history of any country, and the loss of 1 in 3 Pennsylvania manufacturing jobs. Your politicians always pledged to fix it. They'd talk about it for years and years and decades, but they never were able to do it. They came and they went to Washington and they did nothing. But unlike those politicians, I keep my promises. And I love Pennsylvania. You know, I went to school in Pennsylvania. You know that, right? I know it well. And I'm thrilled to report that we are on the verge of ending the NAFTA catastrophe once and for all. Congress will soon vote on my new trade deal, the U.S.-Mexico-Canada Agreement, or USMCA. After years of waiting, many, many years, many, many decades, they've been looking for this. And then we got it done, and we've been waiting for a long time for Nancy Pelosi to announce USMCA. And she did it on the same day that they announced that they are going to impeach the 45th President of the United States, and your favorite president, I think. And the reason they announced it on the same day, 1 hour later, they announced impeachment. A few guys standing behind her. They announced impeachment. And then an hour later, she announced that she's going to do USMCA. You know why? It's a huge deal. And it plays down the impeachment because they're embarrassed by the impeachment. And our poll numbers have gone through the roof because of her stupid impeachment. And think of it this way also. The silver lining of impeachment and this witch hunt, that's the reason they approved USMCA, so that's okay with me, because they approved it and they're very happy to have it. But honestly, it's an incredible deal for our country. It took too long. It waited in Congress for too long a time. Incredible deal. And replacing the worst, NAFTA. We've also just reached a deal with Congress to invest a record $738 billion more into our great military. When I took over, I will tell you, I became president, think of it, almost 3 years ago. By the way, was that the most exciting night ever? You know, I'm just watching these people. That was one of the greatest evenings in the history of television from a rating standpoint, from an excitement standpoint. What the hell would they do without me and you? They'd be gone. You know, about a month before I ran, I picked up a New York Times. It was like a leaflet that you hand out at a grocery store. And now it's thick. They've got all their reporters covering Trump, Trump, Trump. I can't imagine they won't endorse me, because without me winning, you know what happens? They all go down the tubes. They're gone. All of them. Washington Post, New York Times. There's very dishonest networks. They are very dishonest. Very, very dishonest. No, they're very dishonest people. And I have to say this. Look, and I always have to say this. You have some really great journalists, and you have some honest publications, but not too many of them, I have to be honest with you. The legislator, well, you know that. Does anybody think the media is honest? Does anybody think they're totally corrupt and dishonest? All right. The legislation will also officially establish something that's so important to me, because it's where it's at. And a lot of people used to smile, and now outside of the wall, which we're building, you know, the wall is going up. It gets one of the biggest applause of anything. It's the 6th branch of the United States Armed Forces, the Space Force. We're opening up the Space Force. Because you know what? That's where it's at. And everything's built right here in the United States. That's important. And by the way, we build the greatest weapons, the greatest planes, the greatest ships. We build it in the United States. There's nobody that comes close. We have the greatest military equipment anywhere in the world, rockets and missiles. No place builds it like us. We have the best in the world, and we sell it to allies. And they all want to buy from the United States. We've never had a thing like this. We are so hot. We are so hot. And just a few weeks ago, the United States Special Forces brought the world's #1 terrorist to justice. Thanks to the strength and courage of our warriors, and they are great warriors. The bloodthirsty savage known as al-Baghdadi is now dead. And he was quickly replaced by his second in command. And his second in command is now dead. And we've got our eye on and our sights on third also. We know exactly where and when. But you know, it's becoming a very unpopular job. Not a lot of takers, and that's what we want. Go back to living a good, normal life. Because America is winning again. America is winning again like never before. And as I always say, and I've already said it twice tonight, this country is so respected. And we were not respected 4 years ago. We were laughed at. But while we're delivering historic victories for the American people, the radical left Democrats and the failed Washington establishment are trying to erase your votes, nullify the election, and overthrow our democracy. Not going to happen. Don't worry about it. I wouldn't lose too much sleep over it. And I have to say this about the Republicans. The Republicans, and you have a lot of great ones here tonight, your congressmen. You have a lot of great ones. These congressmen are great. The Republicans have never been so united as they are right now, ever. The House, the Senate, we've never been this united because it's all a hoax, and they understand it. They also understand poll numbers, but I'm sure that had nothing to do with it. But the impeachment hoax is about overturning your great 2016 vote, or in the alternative, trying to win the 2020 election. That's not going to happen. Yesterday, the Justice Department's Inspector General released a report detailing the outrageous, scandalous, and unprecedented abuses of power Get her out. Get her out. Get her out. See, these guys want to be so politically correct. Yeah, get her out. You see that? I'll tell you, law enforcement's so great. That particular guy wanted to be so politically correct. Oh. We don't want to be politically correct. I don't know who he was. He didn't do the greatest job. So they tried to frame innocent people in the ludicrous. It all started with the Russia witch hunt, right? Then the Inspector General's shocking report proved that the Obama FBI obtained secret warrants to spy on my campaign based on a phony foreign dossier of debunked smears paid for by crooked Hillary Clinton and the DNC. Right? The FBI failed to disclose the nature of the political hit job to the FISA court. They hid it, they deceived it, and they lied. The dossier was written by a discredited foreign agent who, quote, desperate that Donald Trump not get elected and was passionate about him not being the United States president. What's this? Folks, they spied on our campaign, okay? They spied. Never happened before in the history of our country. And we're really wise to it. We're wise to it. The Inspector General found that the FBI's spying application contained 17 errors and omissions commonly known as lies and deceit. When the FBI, and you have great people in the FBI, but not in leadership. You have not good people in leadership, you haven't had. When the FBI uncovered evidence showing that we did absolutely nothing wrong, which was right at the beginning, they hid that exonerating. You know that. They hid it. They hid it so nobody could see it, so they could keep this hoax going on for 2 years. They knew right at the beginning that it was all a frame-up, a setup. But they hid it so that nobody could see it, so they could keep it going on, thinking they were going to hurt us politically. But now we're stronger politically than we were ever before. And the FBI also sent multiple undercover human spies to surveil and record people associated with our campaign. Look how they've hurt people. They've destroyed the lives of people that were great people, that are still great people. Their lives have been destroyed by scum, okay, by scum. An FBI lawyer took an email, forged an email used as evidence, an act which is now the subject of a criminal referral, okay? What they did is so unbelievable. Oh, I look forward, I don't know, I keep away. I look forward to Bull Durham's report. That's the one I look forward to. And this report was great by the IG, especially since he was appointed by President Barack Hussein Obama. Considering that fact, it was great, because we learned a lot of things that nobody would have found out very easily, although I suspect we would have. We also know from a previous Inspector General investigation that many of these same high-ranking officials were consumed with anti-Trump and anti-Trump people hatred and biased texting about an insurance policy. Let's have an insurance policy. Remember? Peter Strzok and his lover, Lisa Page. Remember? Lisa, I love you so much. Lisa, please, Lisa, please. Lisa, I've never loved anyone like you. We won't allow this to happen to our country. Lisa, please, tell me you love me, Lisa. I love you. Peter, I love you. I love you like I've never loved anyone. And if for any reason she loses, even though she's a stone-cold corrupt person, if for any reason she loses, Peter, we've got to have an insurance policy. We have to do it. Because we're going to go out, and that's what's been happening for the last 2.5 years, okay? It was their phony insurance policy. So FBI lawyer Lisa Page, so in love that she didn't know what the hell was happening, texted the head of counterintelligence, Peter Strzok, likewise, so in love he couldn't see straight. This poor guy, did I hear he needed a restraining order after this whole thing to keep him away from Lisa? That's what I heard. I don't know if it's true. The fake news will never report it. But it could be true. No, that's what I heard. I don't know. I mean, who could believe a thing like that? No, I heard that Peter Strzok needed a restraining order to keep him away from his once lover. Ah, Lisa, I hope you miss him. Lisa, he'll never be the same. But he said he's not ever going to become president. And Strzok looked back. No, he won't. We'll stop it. We'll stop it. Can you believe we found these texts? Can you believe? This is FBI agents at a high level. No, we'll stop it. They're going to stop us from winning an election. And then we have to listen. There was no bias. Oh, there was no bias. Think of these people. They write there was no bias. And yet he's saying, no, darling, we'll stop it. And then they announced there was no bias. Now, you know what we're doing? And it's not easy. And somebody said, a regular president, I don't want to use the word normal because that's not a nice normal refer. A regular president would have been under a table, thumb in the mouth, saying, take me home, mommy, this is too tough for me. It's true. True, they know. And while it was tough on my family, I have to say, very unfair to my family, very tough on my family. I have a great family, tough. For me, it's my life. I do it, it's one thing. But very tough on a family. A thing like this happens, it's a disgrace. But day after day, we're exposing something called that filthy, disgusting, horrible swamp, and we're cleaning it up. And now, after 2.5 years, now that the Russia witch hunt is dead, a big, fat, disgusting fraud, the congressional Democrats are pushing the impeachment witch hunt having to do with Ukraine. But that's already failing. You saw their so-called articles of impeachment today? People are saying they're not even a crime. What happened? All of these horrible things, remember? Bribery and this and that. Where are they? They send these two things, they're not even a crime. This is the lightest, weakest impeachment. You know, our country's had actually many impeachments. You call judges and lots of many impeachments. But it was on today, everybody said, this is impeachment light. This is the lightest impeachment in the history of our country by far. It's not even like an impeachment. These people are stone cold crooked. When a guy like Shifty Schiff, here's a corrupt politician. He made up my statement because, see, I did one thing very good. As soon as I heard about this deal, I released my statement immediately. But he had already made horrible statements. And by the way, the whistleblower defrauded our country because the whistleblower wrote something that was totally untrue. And we broke up the game. Remember, the second whistleblower was coming, right? And then the informer. Who is the informer? I know who the informer is. The informer. So the informer obviously gave him false information because they wrote in the whistleblower report, right? They wrote something totally different from what I said. What I said was perfect, but it screwed up the whole works because most guys would never do that. They didn't even know probably that we had it transcribed, professionally transcribed, word for word transcribed, so beautiful. Am I lucky I had it transcribed? Think of that. Think of that. So when I said release it, and I don't like doing that, because you're releasing it, it's a conversation with a foreign leader. In this case, a very fine gentleman, president of Ukraine, the new president of Ukraine. And we called them up, and we said, would it be okay? Our Secretary of State made the call. Would it be okay? And they didn't know what we were talking about, but they said, yeah, it's okay. And by the way, he, his foreign minister, everybody, did you know they said, there was no pressure. He didn't do anything wrong. There was no pressure put on us. That didn't stop anybody. But we released the conversation, and that gummed it up. Now, all of a sudden, we never heard from the second whistleblower. We never heard about who the informer was. The whistleblower who was going to come out strong, he's disappeared. Where's the whistleblower? He's disappeared. He's gone. Maybe our great congressman can find him, okay? But the whistleblower is gone. He flew the coop because he reported incorrectly. And the IG, who didn't want to look at the conversation, he was so anxious to turn the whistleblower report over to Congress so that Congress could have fun with it, ought to be ashamed of himself. But today, the House Democrats announced these two flimsy, pathetic, ridiculous articles of impeachment. The House Democrats are walking back from everything they claimed with today's announcement. They're now admitting there was no collusion, there was no obstruction of justice, and there were no crimes whatsoever. There are no crimes, it says it. There are no crimes. They're impeaching me, and there are no crimes. This has to be a first in history. They're impeaching me. You know why? Because they want to win an election, and that's the only way they can do it. So the Democrats have nothing, and they've turned the somber process of impeachment, and it was. You know, to me, impeachment is a very ugly word. It's a word I associate with some very bad times in our country. The good news is we're having the best times in history in our country, okay? But the word impeachment to me is a very, very ugly word. It's a dark, ugly word. But I have to tell you, as bad as it is, it meant something. When you had serious high crimes and misdemeanors, when you had serious crimes, it's impeachment. That would happen every 50 years, every 40 years, every 100 years. This was a big deal. They're making it so like, let's do it every 6 months. They've cheapened the process. They've cheapened the process. These people are so bad, the radical left Democrats. And I actually think that Pelosi, who, by the way, she has totally lost control. She has totally, it's being run now by this crazy AOC +3. AOC +3. No, it's being run by other people. The far left has just grabbed that party. It is so sad to see. And she knew what would happen. I didn't, because I didn't figure the polls would go through the roof. They went out today in Michigan, in Wisconsin, in a place called Pennsylvania. No. The polls are through the roof. They're called swing states, very important states. We won Pennsylvania the last time, and we're going to win it again, but even bigger. Our polls have gone over the last month. They've gone through the roof. You look at it, take a look at it. It came out today. The Firehouse poll, It's an important poll. It was always good. I never looked at it today. I like it a lot. We're up through, nobody can even believe it. So what Pelosi did, as I said, they do the impeachment, then right away, let's do USMCA. Right on top of it. You'd think she'd wait like a day. She wanted to smother the impeachment crap. And that's probably what she did, at least to an extent. But any Democrat that votes for this sham will be voting to sacrifice their House majority, their dignity, and their career. Okay? And some of these partisan lunatics have already said that if they fail this time, think of this, how about low IQ Maxine Waters? How about Green? How about Green? We've Green. How about Green, where he said, we have to impeach him, because if we don't impeach him, we're not going to win the election. This is what we're dealing with. You know, we're dealing with some very bad people. We're dealing with people that don't respect you. And by the way, you know, they talk about the elite. You're the elite. They're not the elite. You're the elite. You're the elite. You got better education. You got better everything. You're the elite. It always bothers me. They said, the elite. This is the elite. Look at these people. How beautiful. This is the elite. You know who are the elite? You look at those jobs reports where the best in history unemployment for African Americans, best in history unemployment Hispanic Americans, best in history unemployment Asian Americans. You're the elite. You're the elite. But they said they'll do it again because this has been a total bust. They'll do it again. And by the way, the Senate's been so professional, so good, so strong, so solid, just like these gentlemen in the House, so solid. So we have to vote these crazy people the hell out of office, and in 2020, I'm going to work like hell that we take over the House. We have to take over the House. We have to. Right? Got to take over the House, Mike. So here are the facts that Shifty Schiff. Is that guy the worst? He comes up to a microphone. No, he comes up to a microphone like 2.5 years ago. I have absolute proof that the President of the United States conspired with Russia. Russia? What the hell do I have to do with Russia? By the way, Russia wishes that Hillary Clinton won. They wish. We are now #1 in the world in energy. Russia's #3. We're beating now Russia and Saudi Arabia. You'd have windmills all over the place if you had crooked Hillary. They'd be knocking out those birds left and right. Those windmills, wah, wah, wah. Darling, I want to watch television tonight and there's no damn wind. What do I do? I want to watch the election results. Darling, there's no wind. The damn wind just isn't blowing like it used to because of global warming, I think. I think it's global warming. Global warming. No more wind, no more life. The ocean is going to rise 1/8 of an inch within the next 250 years. We're going to be wiped out. Look, I want clean air. I want clean water, crystal clean. And that's what we have at a record level. Our air and our water are cleaner now than it's ever been, okay, with all that we're doing. And we haven't closed up all of our industry, and we haven't closed up our businesses and lost all those jobs. And right now, we're by far the largest economy in the world. And if you remember, you could look, if you go back 5, 6, 7 years, in 2019, they say China was going to catch us as the world's largest economy. Guess what? They're way behind. They're way behind. Because over the last 3 years, you see the stock market set 131 records from the day. Think of that. And that means jobs, that means 401ks. I have so many people that come up to me, thank you, sir. My wife is so in love with me because I went up 79% in the 401k. She thinks I'm a genius. She always thought I was a total stiff, a dumb, stupid dope. Now she thinks I'm a financial genius, sir. And all I did was buy some stock. I have stock in a 401k. And you made me into a genius, sir. She loves me so much more than she ever did. Shows you the power of money, right? Isn't that terrible? But I have so many people. 401ks are through the roof. Your jobs are through the roof. We have the lowest unemployment rate. And now, more importantly than anything, wages are up for the first time in many, many years, decades. Decades. You remember 4 years ago, I was here, and I told people, I said, you know, 20 years ago, people made more money than they made 4 years ago. Not now, not anymore. Because people now can not only make a lot more money, if they don't like their job, they go out and they get a different job and they get more money, and ultimately they find one that they love. You have so many opportunities right now. Wages are up, jobs are up, and today we set a new record. Almost 160 million people are working. We've never come close to that number. That's a hell of a number. But just quickly, here are the facts on Shifty Schiff. This honest guy makes up my statements. He said, the president of Ukraine repeatedly declared that there was no pressure, but he didn't want to say that. We said, say it. Say it, you crooked bastard, say it. But he doesn't want to say it. We said, say it. I'd like to force him to say it. He'll walk up to the mic. Ladies and gentlemen. Guy's a total corrupt guy. Listen, just to finish off, a man who I don't know him, but I respect him because the Ukrainian foreign minister, and he said it so strongly, I have never seen a direct link between investigations and security assistance. He just said that. The Democrats who are corrupt refuse to say that. And that's ultimately the only one that matters, the leaders of Ukraine, because they're the ones that know if there's pressure, not some crooked ambassador that's a deep stater or that's a Bushy or that's a Clintonite or that's a Barack Obama ambassador. Okay? The ones that matter are the leadership of the country that we're talking about. They refuse to say it because they're dishonest people. There's only one way to stop the rabid partisan Democrats. Pennsylvania voters must show up in 2020 so we can take back the House, hold the Senate, and keep the White House. It's the only way. Only way. Okay. So I'm going to ask these people to come up on the stage because we have warriors with us tonight. We love warriors. Like the guys that killed al-Baghdadi. You know how much press? You know how much press I got? I don't care about press. But Conan the dog got more than I did, and that's okay. Conan was almost electrocuted. He deserves it. They gave me about a day. And that's okay, because the people understand. We made a great decision. And remember this, al-Baghdadi was the founder of ISIS. Al-Baghdadi was a vicious, ruthless person. Al-Baghdadi created a caliphate bigger than the state of Ohio. Think of that. That's a big caliphate. And we now have taken 100% of the caliphate. And we have thousands and thousands of ISIS prisoners. And with Obama, you did nothing. You did nothing but get your ass kicked. True. True. All right, we're joined tonight by many of the terrific warriors that have helped me so much in so many ways. They fight for us. They really are incredible, and they come right from the state of Pennsylvania. Hey, do you ever notice where Biden keeps saying he's in the wrong state? Like if he's in Ohio, it's great to be in Iowa tonight. If he's in Pennsylvania, it's wonderful to be in the state of Delaware. What is wrong with this guy? What's wrong with him? There's something wrong, okay? There's something wrong. No, he keeps, how many times can you do that? So far, it could happen, because, you know, I was doing 6 and 7 a day that last month, that last beautiful month that I loved. I was doing 6. I left these guys alone. I didn't want to do interviews. They were a waste of time. We just did these big, beautiful rallies. I was doing, and you know, if you start getting a little, you know, I went to Michigan, then I went to Wisconsin, then I went, I'm saying, you know, like, what the hell is going on? These crowds are incredible. And we had the biggest crowds. By the way, to this day, there has never been, and they'll always correct me, in the history of politics, in the history of our country, there has never been anybody that drew crowds like we draw. And I don't have a guitar. I have no guitar. But this has never happened. I mean, if you took Ronald Reagan, and we all like Ronald Reagan, I liked him. I thought he was a great guy. But if he came to Pennsylvania for a rally, you know, if he had 1,000 people in a ballroom or something, you know, I mean, we're getting crowds, 25, 30,000 people, and then there'll be 20,000 people outside. You know, we set up screens outside, and if anybody would like to stand in the rain watching, and to you people out there, I'm sorry. It's pretty rough. But no, there's never been anything like it. One instruction. Get me the biggest arena you can get. We don't have empty seats. I mean, look at this. How many seats is this? 11,000? How much? 10,500, it's packed. It's beyond that. And don't forget, look at the floor. And then you go out. No, and then you go out and you look outside and you have thousands and thousands, because there's a spirit for what we're doing. We're fixing our country. We're healing our country. We're making America great again. So I want to ask a couple of our great warriors to come forward. Representative Glenn Thompson. Come up here, Glenn. Come up here. A man that's been a friend of mine for a long time, Mike Kelly. Don't get in a fight with Mike. Come up, Mike. A wonderful man who represents this area, Scott Perry. Representative Lloyd Smucker. Lloyd. A guy who's always there for us, John Joyce. And two people that you all know very well in this state, they bring home the bacon, Dan Muser and Fred Keller. Thank you, fellas. Thank you. I want to also bring back our Pennsylvania party chairman, and I know his grandfather. I shouldn't say that to you. He was a tremendous man, Dan Tabus. But I'm going to introduce somebody that Dan always said had tremendous talent. Little did I know that he'd be working with us, and he's really working well. He's smart. He's tough. Lawrence Tabus. Come on up, Lawrence. Also with us tonight, Pennsylvania Trump Victory Chairwoman Bernie. You know this, right? You know this person. Comfort, do you know who that is? Do you know who that is? Everybody knows who that is. National Committeeman Bob Asher, RNC co-chairman Tommy Hicks, who's been incredible, and my friend David Urban. David. So I just want to thank, this is an amazing group of people, and with their help and the help of everyone here, we are going to set records like we've never set before. You know, I used to say, and I sort of still have to say, 2016, I don't know if anything like that can ever happen. But I think we're much better. You know, all of the things I said, we're going to cut taxes, we're going to cut regulations, we're going to take care of our vets. Look what we did for our vets with choice, right? Look what we did. Look what we did. We now have the ability to fire all of the bad people that are in the VA, right? Fired over 8,000 people that were disrespecting our vets. They wouldn't have done it in prime time, I can tell you that. But what we've done for our vets, what we've done in rebuilding our military, what we've done in so many ways, and we, unlike the Democrats, will protect your Second Amendment, okay? So we've done a job, and we're proud of it, and we have tremendous people, and let's give them a hand, and thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, folks. Vote for these people. Even if you don't like them, vote for them. Oh, that's a beautiful new hat. Look at the hat that guy's got on. How's that hat working out? Is that hat good? I love that hat. Look at this guy that says, "Keep America Great." Should we do the poll? Should we do a poll? Okay, ready? So we have the greatest phrase in the history of politics, "Make America Great Again." And we wait, and we have our new phrase, because we've made America great. I told you, stock market, we've rebuilt our military, we've cut your taxes like at a level that nobody could even think possible. You look at your median, take a look at your median income, take a look at what's happened, the numbers, median household income, take a look at your numbers. With President Bush, it went up $400 in 8 years. With President Obama, it went up $975 in 8 years. With President Trump, it went up $5,000, but, whoa. In less than 3 years, that's a big thing. Wait. And then when you add energy savings and you add tax savings, you have almost a $10,000 gain in 3 years. It's a big difference. And that's one of the very big reasons why I think that and regulations, but that's one of the very big reasons why our economy is doing so, because they talk about our consumer is loaded with money. Thank you very much, Mr. President. I appreciate it. But with the help of everyone here, we have now the hottest economy. You know, when I meet dictators and presidents and kings and queens and prime ministers, they all come into that beautiful Oval Office. So beautiful, right? So respected. And the first thing they almost always say, "Sir, congratulations on your economy. We're trying to do the same thing." I said, "You won't be able to do it. You won't. No, they won't be able to. Let them give it a shot." But they all say, "Congratulations on the great job you've done with the economy." But we've all done the great job. Not me. We've all done. I've been your spokesman, and I've done a good job as spokesman. But they all say that. But we've done a good job in many ways. You know, all of the promises that I made, I'm the only politician in history that I've actually kept more promises than I made. Think of that. In other words, I made here, like a thing like right to try. Nobody talked about right to try. We got right to try. That's somebody terminally ill. We have the greatest medicines in the world, the greatest doctors, the greatest labs in the world. Nobody close. But it takes years to get it approved. And I got it approved, so you can sign a document, get it. And if you want to see the lives that we're saving, it's a beautiful thing. A beautiful thing is happening. Right to try. Right to try. But we've also created 7 million new jobs since the election. If I would have said that, the fake news would have gone crazy. They would have said that's impossible. These people would have gone crazy. They go crazy anyway, and I don't even say it. And right here in Pennsylvania, we've created 160,000 brand new, beautiful jobs. And you have companies moving in and moving back. And as I said, African American, Hispanic American, Asian American unemployment, the lowest ever in the history of our country, the lowest unemployment rates. Wages for low-income workers have gone up more than 10%. Nobody thought that was possible. They're one of the biggest, in terms of a group, one of the biggest beneficiaries. This year, 40 million American families will benefit from the Republican child tax credit, each receiving an average of $2,200. We ended the last administration's war on American energy. The United States is now, and I said it and I'll say it all night long, #1 producer of oil and natural gas in the world, and there's nobody even close. And in the state of Pennsylvania, natural gas production is up 34% since our election. 34. Virtually every leading Democrat has pledged to entirely eliminate American production of oil, clean coal, natural gas. I don't think somebody coming into Pennsylvania, you know, those new petrochemical plants, they don't like them at all. Thousands and thousands of jobs, incredible millions of dollars in taxes. How about going to the state of Texas? We had one candidate who turned out not to be too good a candidate, right? Beto. Remember? So he wanted to get rid of religion, the Bible. He wanted to get rid of guns, and he wanted to get rid of oil. How about going to Texas and saying, no Bible, no oil? Think of this one. No Bible, no oil, no guns. I think you could be Abraham Lincoln and not win that particular race. And it wouldn't be much different in the state of Pennsylvania, that I can tell you. But, you know, somebody that believes in that is Sleepy Joe Biden. He was caught telling a far-left radical activist that he would shut down fossil fuel production in Pennsylvania. You saw that. But the voters of this Commonwealth will never, ever let that happen. Can you imagine a guy coming in, whether it's him or anybody else? They all want to do it. He just raises his hand. He has no clue what he's doing. They raise their head. Remember, he looked. You want to give illegal aliens health care, even though we're taking it away from our own soldiers and our own. And he looks, and they're all raising their hand. Did you see that? Well, okay, I'll do it too. In addition to replacing NAFTA, I've taken the toughest ever action against China's trade abuses. They want to make a deal so badly. And we're doing well with the deal, but they want to make a deal. Please make a deal. We don't want to pay tariffs anymore. Please, please. Thanks to our steel tariffs, steel mills in Pennsylvania are roaring back to life, and U.S. Steel has just announced a $1 billion investment in Mon Valley Works in Pittsburgh. You know that, right? $1 billion. They weren't investing, they were divesting. The steel companies, it's an amazing achievement. We tax all of the dumped steel, comes in from China and other places, 25%, all of it. All of a sudden, our steel mills are doing again. And we need steel. You know, it's not like you can say, gee, we'll get it from another country. We need that for defense. We need it for our ships. We need it for our planes. We need it. We can't play games with steel. After years of rebuilding other nations, we are finally rebuilding our nation. And very importantly, in everything we do, we are putting America first. Sorry. We gave up on the globalists, folks. You know, let's build the world. Let's forget about our country. Let's just rebuild the world. On no issue have the Democrat politicians more thoroughly betrayed the American people than on the issue of immigration. Far-left politicians, I mean, they're fighting me on the wall. You have no idea, but we're building it, and it's fine, and we have the money coming in from the military. I got from here, from there, believe me. If I weren't a good developer, you could forget about that wall. I got here, there, bah. These people fought me, and we've started winning in court. And you know what? Speaking of court, we will soon have 182 federal judges, including Court of Appeals. Nobody can believe it. All because Barack Obama gave us 142 empty seats. You know, when you're a president, they always say, I disagree. I think the most important thing we can do is defense, right? But beyond defense, they always say the most important thing you can do is judges and justices of the Supreme Court. We have two great ones, But they always say judges and Supreme Court justices. And when you leave office, I hope in 5 years, 9 years, 13 years, 17 years, 21 years, 25 years, 29 years when I leave office. Now, I'm only doing that to drive them totally crazy. That drives them crazy, even joking about it. We have this idiot comedian who stands up. He's talking to a guest, right? He said, you know he's going to win, don't you? You know it. Guy goes, no, we're going to fight. And they will. No, you know he's going to win. Then he goes, you know he's going to win, and you know he's never leaving, don't you? He's never leaving. And at first I thought he was kidding. He's a whack job. He is totally serious. He honestly believes that. And I don't know, should we give it a shot? Maybe we'll give it a shot. I'm only kidding. Media, I'm only kidding. They won't write that, but that's okay. They won't write the I'm only kidding part. But far-left politicians support deadly sanctuary cities, demonstrating their sneering contempt, scorn, and disdain for everyday Americans. These jurisdictions deliberately release dangerous, violent, criminal aliens out of their jails and directly onto your streets, where they are free to offend, where they are free to kill, where they are free to rape, where they are free to beat up people, except for ICE, because ICE is much tougher than them. They don't beat up ICE. You're lucky we have ICE. They want to put ICE out of business. That's not happening. They're incredible people. They're great patriots, and they're tough. Thanks to Democrat immigration policies, innocent Americans in all 50 states are being brutalized and murdered by illegal alien criminals. Last summer, at least 19 illegal aliens were charged in connection with grisly homicides, including hacking victims to death and ripping out, in 2 cases, their hearts. Weeks ago, 2 illegal aliens and members of the savage gang MS-13, who we are removing from our country by the thousands, were charged with relentlessly beating a wonderful, beautiful high school teenager to death with a baseball bat and chopping the body apart with a machete. One of the animals accused was previously released by local authorities in defiance of an ICE demand. ICE said, you can't let him go. They wanted him. They would do anything for him. They wanted them to hand this animal over for deportation back to his country. Get him the hell out of our country, right? Democrat sanctuary cities also give safe haven to those who commit violent sex crimes. Since Montgomery County, Maryland declared itself a sanctuary jurisdiction in July, we have already identified 9 illegal aliens who have been arrested for rape, sexual assault, including a 26-year-old man charged with raping and viciously strangling a young, wonderful woman who was entering her apartment, innocently entering her apartment. She was raped and killed, strangled to death. Sanctuary City, Maryland. But these are only the cases we know about. Sanctuary cities and jails actively conceal illegal alien crime and criminals from federal government. Federal government wants to take them out, or in some cases, if it's real violence, and we don't want to pay for the cost, but we do, put them into very strong jails. The sanctuary city of Philadelphia, a sanctuary city in Philadelphia, is one of the very worst sanctuaries anywhere in America. Did you know that? I mean, I know Philadelphia well, going to school here. We never heard about sanctuary cities, did we? Weeks ago, an illegal alien charged with rape, sexual assault of a child, and inflicting serious bodily injury was released by Philadelphia to wander free in your communities. And by the way, you may have the worst district attorney or whatever the hell you call this guy. I've been hearing about this guy. He lets killers out almost immediately. What the hell? How did you let that happen? Instead of handing him over while still in jail, they defied ICE. They fought with ICE and set him loose upon an unsuspecting family. Thankfully, at great time and effort, our brave ICE officers were eventually able to track him down, arrest him, detain him, and do what has to be done. How do you elect Democrats when they create a sanctuary city of Philadelphia? I don't get it. 4 MS-13 gang members were also arrested in Pennsylvania in connection with the brutal and sadistic murders of a 21-year-old and a 15-year-old. As we speak, a criminal illegal alien with 3 prior deportations is roaming free in Pennsylvania because he was released by the city of Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. You better get yourself a new prosecutor in this place, I want to tell you. That's a horrible thing. No, it's a national story, how he wants everybody to not pay the price. And you're talking about not paying the price for rape, for murder, for other horrible crimes. How stupid can you be? The charges against this alien include rape, aggravated indecent assault, unlawful contact with a minor, indecent exposure, and terroristic threats. Other than that, he was a very nice person. Philadelphia has defied ICE and released illegals charged with everything from assault to kidnapping to drug crimes to sex crimes to homicide, murder. Democrats stand for crime, corruption, and chaos. Republicans stand for law and order, and we stand for justice. We stand for justice. We side with law enforcement and with law-abiding Americans, not ruthless gang members and not violent criminals, aliens that come into our country illegally. They take our payments. Some of these people with these crazy laws that you have, look at what's going on in California. They do better than our great veterans. They do better than citizens of our country. And they advertise, we will take you, we will take care of you, we will pay for it. And then you wonder why we have so many people trying to come through at the borders. but we do a great job. We're removing these criminal, illegal aliens from our country by the thousands. We're sending them home, and we're not letting them come back in. We're being very tough. And Mexico is now giving us 27,000 soldiers at our border. And Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador, we signed a very important agreement with each. When their people come into our country, they weren't taking them back. Now they take them back and they say, thank you very much. They weren't taking them back. If we had a murderer from Honduras, Guatemala, El Salvador, we want to bring them back under past administrations. They'd bring them, they say, we don't want them. Don't land your plane with us. They say, thank you very much, we will take them back. Because we've let them know the price is very bad if they don't do that. Thanks to our tireless efforts to secure the border, illegal crossings are down 75% since May, and the wall is going up at a very rapid pace. The radical Democrats have gotten more and more extreme, and that's why they did this impeachment hoax, because Nancy Pelosi had absolutely no control. She knew what was going to happen. She knew. The radical left has taken over the Democrat Party. Democrats are pushing for a socialist takeover of health care that would strip you of the doctor and coverage of your choice. We have 180 million people with private health care that love it. They're going to take it away from you. I don't think so. Crazy Elizabeth Warren, or as I affectionately call her, Pocahontas, her ridiculous plan would cost $52 trillion. That's more money than we take in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, about 7 years. That's for 1 year. $52 trillion. And you don't have your doctor. I mean, well, she's starting to crash again. You know, I thought I knocked her down. I did that heavy, heavy Pocahontas deal. I give her credit. I thought she was left for, I mean, they were like just little embers. And then she rose, and she became strong, but then she opened that fresh mouth of hers, and it stopped. It stopped. I don't see her as a threat. I don't think she makes it. I mean, you don't know. Crazy things are happening in the Democrat Party. It used to be a sane party, now it's an insane party. So you don't know. But they're all looking at the same thing. I mean, you have Alfred E. Newman who's running, who's like, this guy. This guy, Buttigieg. Can you believe he's doing well? He's like the leading fundraiser. I dream about him. It's true. No, Buttigieg. But I'm not going too far with any of these people. Because I thought, you know, I was way too early with Elizabeth Warren. We destroyed her too fast. So she came back. But she's going back down again. Did anybody see her beer deal where she said, oh, darling, you ever see that deal? Darling, it's about her husband. Darling, it's great to see you. What are you doing here? It's like, that's her husband. He's supposed to be living in the house. You're here. I don't think she's seen him in 10 years. Hey, I have an idea. Can I get a beer? Let's get a beer. You know, she wants to be one of the group. Hey, let's get a beer. Did you ever see such a phony, disgusting deal? Republicans will defend your sacred right to choose the doctor, and you can choose your plan, and you choose the plan that's right for you. We will strongly protect patients with pre-existing conditions. We will also protect your right to get the physician that you want. Virtually every top Democrat also now supports late-term abortion, ripping babies straight from the mother's womb right up until the moment of birth. And this character in Virginia, do you see the Virginia governor? I mean, he gave a whole expose, the baby is born. And then basically, they start talking to the mother, the baby is born. And there's no other word. If the mother decides no, then they execute the baby. Okay? He's the governor of Virginia. and why the Republicans aren't going to win Virginia this next election, 2020, I'll tell you what, we're going to give it a very strong shot. When you have people like that, we're going to give it a very strong shot. But that's why I've asked Congress to prohibit extreme late-term abortion, because Republicans believe that every child is a sacred gift from God. Democrats are now the party of high taxes, high crime, open borders, late-term abortion, socialism, and blatant corruption. The Republican Party is the party of the American worker, the American family, the American dream, and the party of honest Abe Lincoln. Party of Abe Lincoln. I told you about judges. I'm telling you about so many other things. There's nobody that's ever done what we're doing. You look at school choice for every child in America who needs it, including the 50,000 Pennsylvania students who your Democrat governor has blocked from getting school choice scholarships. No scholarships available. What's that all about? How did that happen? I withdrew from the horrible, one-sided Iran nuclear deal, a disaster. I recognized Israel's true capital and opened the American embassy in Jerusalem. For years, you watched as your politicians apologized for America. Now you have a president who is standing up for America, and we are standing up for the people of Pennsylvania, and you've never had that better year. Never. At stake in our present battle is the survival of the American nation itself. It's the survival. We will destroy our country if these people get in. You know, I say we've done so much in the first 3 years. We'll soon be 4 years. All of a sudden, the time will be up. But it's like when you plant a tree, it needs time to grab on. It needs time. You got to let it's got to grab. And that's what we need. We need time. And we have other things we're going to do that are incredible. We still have tremendous regulation cutting that we can do. You know, we've cut more regulations than any president in the history of our country. We did it in less than 2.5 years, at 2.5 years. We did it in less than 2.5 years. And some had 8 years. One had more than 8 years. More regulation, and we have regulation, and you need some regulation. But you don't need regulation that doesn't allow you to build a simple road or highway. So what we've done has been incredible. That's one of the reasons our job numbers are so good. If you want your children to inherit the birthright of American liberty that generations of Americans have fought and died for to secure, then we must devote everything we have toward victory in 2020. And we have to get rid of the Democrats in the House of Representatives. They are stone cold crazy. Only this way can we save the America we love and clean up Washington corruption once and for all. With your help, we will lift millions more of our citizens from welfare to work, dependence to independence, and poverty to prosperity. We have tremendous prosperity going on in our country, and the people in this room are, I mean, you know what's happening. You know what's happening with your families. You know what's happening with your jobs. You've never had a time like this. You know, they always say, are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? I mean, who is better off now? Everybody, I think. Everybody. But together, we will elect a Republican Congress to create a fair, safe, sane, and lawful system of immigration. We will enact trade deals that result in more products proudly stamped with that beautiful phrase, made in the USA. We just finished a deal with South Korea, great new trade deal. We just finished a $40 billion deal with Japan. We're in the process of getting our deal done. Let's see what happens. They want to make it more than I do with, because we're taking in a lot of money. We haven't taken in money from China ever, and it's coming in now by the billions. And when they target our farmer, I give our farmers that money that they've been targeted, and our farmers are thrilled. And we have a lot left over. But we will achieve new breakthroughs in science and medicine, finding new cures for childhood cancer, and ending the AIDS epidemic in America. We'll have that done within 10 years. And that could have started earlier than the beginning of our administration. We'll have that done in less than 10 years. Think of that. The AIDS epidemic, we'll have it ended in America within less than 10 years. We will defend privacy, free speech, religious liberty, and the right to keep and bear arms. And above all, we will never stop fighting for the sacred values that bind us together as one America, one great country, one America. We support, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. We stand with the incredible heroes of law enforcement. We believe in the dignity of work and the sanctity of life. We believe that faith and family, not government and bureaucracy, are the true American way. We believe that children should be taught to love our country, honor our history, and always respect our great American flag. And we live by the words of our national motto, "In God we trust." We stand on the shoulders of generations of Pennsylvania patriots who gave their blood, sweat, and tears for this beloved nation. Pennsylvania is the place where our founding fathers declared American independence, where the Army weathered its brutal winter at Valley Forge, and where General George Washington led his men across the Delaware on Christmas night. They used the password. You know what the password was? Victory or death. Victory or death. How incredible is that? Victory or death. Pennsylvania is the state that gave us self-made titans of American industry, from Andrew Carnegie to Milton Hershey. I love Hershey. I love Hershey. And Henry J. Hines. Pennsylvania is the place where strong American workers mined the coal, worked the railroads, and forged the steel that made America into the greatest and most powerful nation in the history of the world. And we are making it even greater every single day. It's greater than ever before. And proud citizens like you help build this country. And together we are taking back our country. We are returning power to you, the American people. They are trying to take your power away. It will never, ever happen. With your help and with your devotion and your drive, we are going to keep on working. We are going to keep on fighting. And we are going to keep on winning, winning, winning. We are going to keep on winning. We are one movement, one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. America is thriving like never before. And ladies and gentlemen of Pennsylvania, the best is yet to come. Because together, we will make America wealthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you, Pennsylvania. Thank you.
All right, everybody, that's President Donald Trump wrapping up in Hershey, Pennsylvania, the same day that House Democrats announced 2 articles of impeachment against the president. You saw it live right here on Fox News Now. I just clipped the entire rally. It's probably going to take a while to process because it was pretty long there. All right, everybody, that's President Donald Trump. Thank you to all of you who watched tonight. I know we got more than 60,000 at one point, if not higher. Please like, share, subscribe, and join us again. Fox News Now streams Monday through Friday, usually 13 hours a day. But as we wrap up the year here, a lot of people taking vacations, including News Now hosts. So we will only have a full 13-hour stream for 2 days at the end of the month. Taking a live look now at the current weather conditions in New York City. Beautiful live picture for sure. Meanwhile, everyone, we are just 15 minutes away from Fox 10 Extra News at 7, Channel 45, Cable 9. Please join us there. If you're not in Arizona or you don't have a TV, no problem. Just head on over to fox10phoenix.com/live and you can watch it there. There was a Bernie Sanders event tonight. I'm going to be playing that for the next few minutes. That's next, right here on News Now. All right, everyone, I'm working to see what's going on with that audio there, and I will bring it to you if I can. All right, everyone, I was able to find the Bernie Sanders video, but it's not the best quality, so we're going to pass on that for now on News Now. But if any news breaks across the country, we will certainly have you covered. Thanks for being here, everyone.
Mr. President, do you want to talk about the border wall?
We gotta go. Please, let's go.
This president stands up.
like family now. And by the way, that means I brought family with me. I brought my son, Alex. Where are you, Alex? There you are. Guy in the back in the blue shirt. So, Alex has, just to give you a little idea of who he is, he has been my tech support since 2nd grade. It's true. It's true. He has his own small business now, but he's picked up a new sideline. It's called Support Your Mother when she runs for President of the United States. Wow. Way to go, Al. So when I've been to Reno before, I've always given you kind of a long story about who I am, why I'm in this fight, and then we've done a few questions, and then, of course, that all-important part of democracy, selfies. I thought tonight, though, I might shake it up just a little and do a little shorter bit at the top, tell you faster who I am, and a little bit about this fight, and then we'll just see if we can take as many questions as possible. That way I have a chance to talk about the things that are really top of mind for you. So here's how my story starts. I was born and raised in Oklahoma. We got some Okies here. Okay. Born and raised in Oklahoma. I am what used to be called a late in life baby. My mother always just called me the surprise. I have 3 much older brothers. They are to this day referred to as the boys. That's to distinguish them from the surprise. So when we were growing up, our daddy had a lot of different jobs. He sold fencing, he sold carpet, he sold housewares. And then by the time I was in middle school, the boys were all gone. All 3 of my brothers went off and joined the military. That was their path to America's middle class. My daddy had a massive heart attack. He pulled through, but we went a long time with no money coming in. So I've lived that life. I still remember what it was like to lose our family station wagon. I remember when my mother, scared as she was, 50 years old, had never worked outside the home, when she knew our house was on the line. And she pulled on her best dress, her high heels, walked to the Sears and got a minimum wage job, a job that saved our house and saved our family. I knew from the time I was in 2nd grade what I wanted to be. Boys headed off to the military. That was their way for both service and into the middle class. I knew what I wanted to be since I was in 2nd grade. You laugh. You didn't decide till what, like 4th grade? 5th in the back. I can always tell. The people that came in late, 5th grade. Yeah, I can tell. Yeah. No, I've known what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a public school teacher. Can we hear it for America's public school teachers? But in a family with so many ups and downs, by the time I graduated from high school, my family couldn't afford a college application, much less to send me off to 4 years at university. So, like a lot of Americans, I don't have a straight line story. I have a story that has a lot of twists and turns in it. So here's how the twists and turns go in my story. I was a high school debater, and I got a scholarship to college. Woohoo! And then, at 19, I fell in love, got married, and dropped out of school. Woohoo! Okay. Now look, it was what I chose. Nobody pushed me into this. But I thought I'd given up the dream. I thought it meant I would never be able to teach school. And so we're living down outside Houston, and that's when I found it. A commuter college that cost $50 a semester. Yeah. And for a price I could pay for on a part-time waitressing job, I finished my 4-year diploma. I became a special education teacher. I've lived my dream job. Now, if we got some public school teachers in here, Oh, a bunch. Yes. Fabulous. We got some up there? All right. So I'm going to need you to back me up on this. It is not a job, it is a calling. I loved this work. I had 4 to 6 year olds in special education. I love those babies. To this day, I can remember things we worked on. They were wonderful. And I probably would still be doing that work today, but more twists and turns to the story. By the end of the first year, I was visibly pregnant. And the principal did what principals did in those days. He wished me luck and hired someone else for the job. Okay, so by this time we're living in New Jersey. I'm at home. I got a baby. I can't get a job. I got to do something. What am I going to do? I will go to law school. Yeah, you bet. So, found a state law school, cost $450 a semester. Baby on hip, headed off to law school, did 3 years of law school, graduated visibly pregnant. You will discover a pattern to these stories. That was Alex, who kindly waited long enough until I could graduate before he was born. And took the bar, passed the bar, and practiced law for 45 minutes. And then I went back to my first love. I traded the little ones for big ones, and I've spent pretty much my whole life teaching in law school. Other big changes in my life at this point: husband number 1. Hint, it is never good when you have to number your husbands. Husband number 1 and I parted ways, but I found Bruce. I've held on to him, so I'm still just on number 2. Hanging on to him. Good man. Good man. So here I am. I'm teaching in law school, and, maybe it's because I grew up in a family that was hanging on to its place in the middle class pretty much by our fingernails. But for me, it was always the money courses. I taught contract law and commercial law. I taught secure transactions and payment systems, partnership finance, corporate finance, law and economics, law of debtors and creditors, bankruptcy law. That was about money, count me in. But there was always one central issue that I worked on, and that is what's happening to working families in America. Why is it that people who work every bit as hard as my mom and dad worked 2 generations ago, today find the path so much rockier and so much steeper? And for people of color, even rockier and even steeper. Why? And I'll tell you why. It's about who government works for. Think of it this way. We have a government in Washington that works great for giant drug companies. It just doesn't work for people trying to get a prescription filled. It works great for people who want to make a profit off private prisons and private detention centers down at our border. It just doesn't work for the families whose lives are torn apart by those places. You bet. It works great for giant oil companies that want to drill everywhere. It's just not working for the rest of us who see climate change bearing down upon us. And here's the thing. When you see a government that works great for those with money and doesn't work so great for everyone else, that is corruption, pure and simple, and we need to call it out for what it is. Corruption, and it touches every decision that is made in Washington. No matter what issue brought you here today, whether it's gun violence, whether it's health care, whether it's climate change, if there's a decision to be made in Washington, it has been influenced by money. Yes, it has. It has been shaped by money. It has had exceptions created by money, money, money. I am in this race for President of the United States because I'm sick of a government that gives in to the wealthy and the well-connected. I want a government that works for everyone else. That's the way I'm going. All right. Oh, I love this. Good. Good. So I tell you what, let's do some questions. I'll take some questions. I'll talk a little more about some of my plans, and then we'll wrap this up together. So you guys are marching down like you're coming after me. I'm feeling a little okay. How's this work? Hi.
Hi.
So you're my first one here,
Yes.
right? Tell me your name.
I'm Bryce, and I'm 17
Hi,
years old.
Bryce. It's good to see you.
Thank you. If the impeachment moves to the Senate, how will you manage your campaign while also fulfilling your duties as an elected U.S. Senator?
Oh, so thank you. It's a good question, Bryce. Let me just start by saying there are some things more important than politics. I took an oath of office to uphold the Constitution of the United States. I don't take any joy in an impeachment proceeding going forward. When I got in this race for president, man, I was ready to go after Donald Trump and ready to go after the corruption. But I didn't think it was going to be through impeachment. I was all good on this until I read the Mueller report. The day it came out, I started reading it. I read all 448 pages. By the time I got to the end, three things were clear. First, a hostile foreign government attacked our 2016 election for the purpose of helping candidate Donald Trump. This is chapter and verse in there with all the documentation and affidavits and witness testimony. Part two, as a candidate, Donald Trump welcomed that, but here comes the hooker. When the federal government tried to investigate those two things, Donald Trump, as president of the United States, did everything he could to obstruct that investigation. That is an impeachable offense. I called for impeachment at that point, and I said, doesn't matter whether it's politically popular, it's the right thing to do. I called for impeachment at that point, and I said, if we don't go forward with an investigation, he'll think he's bulletproof, and he will break the law again. And sure enough, it appears that's exactly what he did with Ukraine in the summer, that he offered your taxpayer dollars, right, to Ukraine in return for Ukraine doing him a personal political favor. The President of the United States is not entitled to do that. No one is above the law, not even the President of the United States. So I will be there. I'll be there all the way. Thank you, Bryce. Go ahead. Hi.
Hi.
Tell me your name.
My name is Tony.
Hi, Tony.
Hi. I'm a recently retired county IT worker. So I love details, so I've always enjoyed the fact that you're one of the detailed-oriented candidates.
I love this. So you're my kind of guy, Tony. And I have to say, so I was in Milwaukee a while back, and I'm sitting after I've done one of these big events, and I'm actually sitting with Alex, and we're having beer and hamburgers. And this guy walks up and he says, "I'm a math teacher." And I said, "Yeah?" And he said, "And I've gone through your plans." And I said, "Yeah?" And he said, "And the math adds up."
Hi.
So are you with me on this, Tony?
Yeah. So
Okay.
My specific question is on the Medicare for All plan, which is obviously a major systemic change. And all systemic changes do have some collateral impacts. The collateral impact I'm most concerned with is my friends who are in the insurance industry, good middle-class people.
Yep.
I don't care about the executive, but the good middle-class people with hard-working jobs, what are you going to do to make sure that this does not majorly impact their lives?
So I really appreciate the question. If you take a look, a little more detail in the plan, it's already there in the part about financing the plan. To make sure we have money for a basic principle, no one gets left behind. So some folks who are currently in insurance will be in other parts of insurance. They just won't be doing health insurance. They'll be doing automobile insurance or life insurance or other kinds of insurance. Some will go to work for Medicare, right? Because we're going to need more people to manage it. But no one gets left behind. There's plenty of money in there. for transition. There's plenty of money in there for people who decide they're ready to retire, people who decide they're ready to try something else, because I think that's critical. And I think this is important every time we talk about the major changes. I like the fact that you think about who all it affects, because here's the part that's bearing down on me right now, and that is healthcare costs literally for tens of millions of people in this country. You know, we had about 36 million people last year who didn't have a prescription filled because they couldn't afford it. Think about what that means. We had 35 million people last year who didn't have something scary checked out at the doctor because they couldn't afford it. We had about 34 million people last year who didn't get a test that the doctor ordered because they couldn't afford it. And understand this, a big hunk of those folks have health insurance. But between the deductibles and the copays and the uncovered expenses and the drugs that aren't covered, we got a lot of folks who are just getting mashed flat against the wall. So what I want to do in this is I want to get as much help to as many people as quickly as we can, give a lot of them a choice to be able to get expanded health care coverage, drop the age of Medicare down to 50. So if people want to opt into Medicare, they can. Expand the Medicare coverage. Let a lot of people have an experience with what it's like that your health care is about you and your doctor or your nurse practitioner or your mental health professional or your physical therapist, without some insurance company standing in the middle saying no, no, no. That's the change I want to make. Thank you. Thank you, Tony. Thank you. Good. Hi.
Hi.
What's your name?
My name is Mark.
Hi, Mark. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, too. My question is about voting. Voter turnout in the United States is really low, and a lot of machines are outdated. My question is, how can we update our elections, our machines, and make sure that everybody is able to exercise their right to vote?
Okay, so it's a great question, Mark. You wouldn't be surprised I have a plan for this, right? But it is. Look, you want to be a democracy, you've got to invest in voting, because voting is right at the heart, and that means invest both in the security of the votes that are cast, but it also means investing in getting more people out to vote, making all those voting places available in all the ways that people can vote. I think this is critical. So if I can, Mark, and I've got money to do this, right, how we can push this through and how we can entice the states to come along, but we need to raise the standards for federal voting. And then say to the states, instead of just pushing this off to the states, we need to do this federally. We need to make a financial commitment. We need to make voting accessible, and then say to the states, if you want to add your voting, your state level voting to that, your county level voting to that, your city level voting, we're glad to expand it and make that available to you. But we have a responsibility to protect federal voting. If I can I just expand your question just a tiny little bit and make a larger point? We need to protect our democracy in this country. We need to protect it. And here's where I'd start. I want to see a constitutional amendment to protect the right of every American citizen to vote and to get that vote counted. That's the start of it. I want to pass a federal law now to prohibit political gerrymandering. Yep. And another federal law now to roll back every racist voter suppression law in this country. And just one more we have to talk about. It's time to overturn Citizens United. Democracy is not for sale. We got to do this. Thank you, Mark. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, so we're going to take some more questions here.
Okay.
With
Well,
Senator Warren, we have 2 more from this batch, but we're drawing a few more. Thank you
Okay.
for being in Reno and talking to us.
Yeah.
Here, I'll put this right over here.
Okay.
All right. Send your good energy in here for people. All right.
Okay.
So, first ticket of the second batch is last 4 digits 7684. Persist if you get it. Persist. Awesome. We got somebody.
All right.
All right, let's try another. All right, last 4, 7729.
Oh,
Persist.
my
All
man,
right.
Right in the middle. What are the odds?
I know, 50-50-ish. All right. Next one, last 4 digits, 7651. Ah, there we go. Woohoo. All right. And the fourth one, last 4 digits, 7717. 7717.
Somebody? Fantastic.
Awesome.
All right.
And we'll take one more.
Elizabeth, some of us never got tickets. That's very unfair.
Well, everybody was offered a ticket, I hope, on the way in. Everybody was supposed to be. Well, then we'll make sure we get some tickets over here and we'll draw some more.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And the last ticket we'll call for right now is 7691. Last 4.
Okay. Well, everybody gets an equal chance.
7691? Anybody?
I tell you
Okay.
what, why don't we hold to make sure everybody over here gets a ticket?
Okay, that
and then
sounds good.
do
We'll
some
go
more
with these
drawing.
4. So
Okay.
if we just called you, come over here.
Good. Okay,
All
let's
right.
do that. So we had some people already lined up, right? One more? Go ahead.
Hi,
Hi, what's your name?
my name is Austin Daly. And
Hi, Austin.
I'm actually the president of the Young Democrats of the University of Nevada, Reno, just on the hill.
Woohoo! Good for you.
My question, I guess, is so for a time in your life, you were a Republican. What do you think caused you? Why do you think you were a Republican, and what do you think caused you to make that change later in life?
So I was born and raised in Oklahoma. I have 3 brothers. 2 of them are still Republicans. I was just not very political for a long time in my life. It was about policies for me, always about policies that I worked on, but not about politics and voter registration. I understand, sure I voted. I understand that not being very political is a privilege. Not paying as much attention to politics is. You know, mine was, I was a mom, I was raising a family, I was teaching, I was doing my research. But here's the thing. Quite a while back, when I really started getting into it about how banks were cheating families, I looked around and saw that these banks always had all the Republicans on their side, and that they had half the Democrats. But if there was someone who was going to stand up for working families, it was a Democrat. And when I saw that, I jumped in, I got in the fight, and I've been in the fight on that side ever since for working families. And I think that's what matters. So that's where I've been. Thank you. Thank you. Hi, what's your name?
Hello, my name is Kirk.
Hi, Kirk. It's good to see you.
I was a Warren supporter in 2015.
Woohoo! Okay.
Glad you're here now.
Uh-huh.
My question is, I've grown up in the West and have been fortunately to be surrounded by public lands my whole life.
Yeah.
It's really important for us out here and for the rest of the country to have these American public lands.
Yes.
The current administration has disassembled a lot of the environmental regulations, and they're working at disassembling the management of our public lands, trying to turn them over and privatize them. What is your plan to deal with?
Okay, so it's a great question. Thank you. Can I just say, I also get to enjoy our public lands, including public lands near here. Bruce and I are hikers, and we've been to Nevada many, many times. Before I ever got in politics, we came here often to go up in the mountains to hike, to go to different parts, and all around